From 1971 to 1973, played for the Chicago Bears. He's a past board member of the Tiger Athletic Foundation. Of course, LSU plays at Mississippi State this Thursday night in Starkville. Please give a warm quarterback club welcome to former Rummel star Norman Hodgins.
Thanks, Kenny. I always enjoy coming. It feels like I'm at home. I've been with you guys so many times on both sides of this arena. And I should say, Kenny, we have enough Rummel folks here today, we can almost have a quorum, so I've got to say something about Rummel before I get into LSU, right? Big win against Slidell, right? Good job, Darryl. One of those good coaches and alumni guys. Got to tell you guys, I think it's the year of the quarterback. Anybody deny that? Well, I saw it Friday night. I said Friday night. Well, I went to the Dome to see. We live on the North Shore, so our sons all went to St. Paul's. So we saw St. Paul's play Acadiana. Great game, by the way. And those doggone referees, those flag-happy guys. Any of them here today? No, probably none of them, huh? Man, they're throwing flags. They actually threw the quarterback for Acadiana out of the game for punching somebody. What are these referees doing today? What's going on around here? Can you all explain that? No, you can't, right? I was looking to see if Brian was out there. I got the binoculars. As soon as I saw that play, I said, what's that sledge out there? Anyway, I don't know what to tell you. Before the LSU game, I was talking to the athletic director for Northwestern. And of course, they had a little incident too. You may not have noticed that, but their quarterback, not only was he had some problems in the halftime of their first game, the coach kicks him out of the locker room and says, you're out of here. So he goes up in the stands and gets a beer during the second half. And he thought nobody would notice. You know, he's got one of those Craig Stelts, you know, hair down past his shoulders, and he's kissing all the girls on the way up. And the film has it missing about 5 minutes because the film was watching him in the stands. So what are we going to do about quarterbacks? We've had our own situations at LSU. You know, Ole Miss had one, but it wasn't much. He just punched a cop, but he didn't mean to. He was waving to somebody. And you know, Oregon's got a guy going, what, 118 miles an hour in a Nissan Altima? Anybody want to go 118 in a Nissan Altima? I don't even want to watch it on TV going 118, much less be in it. What we're going to do, Coach, you got your challenge. We can just sit here and talk about it, but you got your challenge. You'll do good. All right, the Tigers. Well, they, as you probably saw, they played pretty solid against Northwestern. It was not a letdown. They came to play on all facets of the game. Very few penalties, which was good on both sides. I thought that Northwestern's quarterback's not there, so that put a challenge on the young man that picked up his part, and I thought LSU played well. Defensively, they look very strong. They're, as you're well aware, they're strong, they're quick. They're not very big. It's not a very large unit. But they are they're very strong and they're very quick, and they bring another group in that's just as talented and just as quick and just as strong as the first group. They do some amazing things. Great linebacking core, solid, experienced. In the secondary, I don't know, between Alabama and LSU, I don't know who has the best secondary in the country. I'd venture to say they're about tied, but they both look really strong, and they go about 6, 7, 8 deep there also. That makes it very tough for teams. How can you not be pleased with Jared Lee? And how proud, I'm proud of him. I don't even know him, but I'm proud of him just watching. As players know, and folks that have been around, anybody who's been through what he's been through and never left, stayed steady, stayed team player, and nobody can figure it out. We're all scratching our heads trying to figure out why he's still there. And as a bunch of guys just turning around talking about it, trying to figure out why he's still there and trying to figure out what he's going to do next, my wife says, which they always have the right inside scoop, she goes, well, he's probably got a girlfriend at LSU. I said, well, that's probably right. No wonder he's still there. We didn't think of that, right? We were thinking football. There had to be something football or strategic. That's pretty strategic, isn't it? But I'm very proud of him. He's handled himself very well. He's managing the game. Is it reminiscent of Flynn and Mock, who just managed the game well when we won those championship years? It's great to think about that. We're only 2 games into the season. So it's great to think forward, but as coaches always say, right? It's a week to week. We only take 1 game at a time. That's a phrase that's been coined since I don't know how far back, way back. But they look like they're ready to come to play. Plenty of receivers, plenty of running backs, strong running backs, offensive lines coming together, a lot of leadership there. I give T-Bob Hebert a lot of credit for his senior leadership and what he's doing. I think he's a senior. He might be a junior. Is he a senior? Not sure. But a senior, I thought he was. But his leadership, and he obviously you can see he's not a starter, but yet he gives that leadership, and that's what good teams need to have. You have to have the talent, you have to have good coaching, and you have to have that leadership on the field, and they seem to have all those things coming together. They're going to get Mississippi State Thursday night, and State is a wonderful ball club. Regardless of what happened last week, I think as somebody had announced, I forget who it was who had the game, but they said Auburn knows how to win games in the end, and Mississippi State is still learning how to win close games at the very end. And I just hope they need one more week to figure that out and go past to the fourth week of the season or something like that. They're very talented. Coach Mullen has done, I think, a remarkable job in Mississippi State. He's recruited well. He's got good coaches. They're playing well. They show up every week. I'm hoping they have a little bit of a letdown, but I doubt that'll really happen in this process. How can we do well against them? We're going to have to do what we've done the first two games. We have to run the ball well. We have to control the clock, control the tempo, not make the quarterback be that person who has to win the game for you. And I think that at the present time, LSU's got good quarterback situation, but I don't believe that that's who we want to actually have to win the game in spite of everybody else. I think we just need to bring him along, and he seems to be very comfortable with that role, and I'm hoping that's going to continue. For those that were waiting, as I was, Mettenberger looks pretty good, doesn't he? So that doesn't do anything but crank up the competition, and of course it also, around the water cooler, does what? It builds those conversations pretty high. But I think he's known Les Miles as I do. His Michigan background requires him to play seniors and juniors first, right? That's just what he learned, and that's the way it's going to be. And I believe that as long as Jared Lee continues to play like he's played in the first two games, then Mettenberger is going to be right there. I don't see that happening unless something just goes awry down the road. Any questions? I knew you had one.
What's the latest news on that?
It's been very quiet, and I would say that it's going through a very methodical process. Now, somebody told me the other day, well, Norman, didn't you hear his defense attorney said he's absolutely innocent and it'll be proven in court? And I said, you're probably right. But I also know that every defense attorney I've ever heard always says their client is innocent and it'll be proved in court. The concern I've got is that how far along is the process? And I don't know that. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you how fast that process will go. But until he gets, it's going to go to a police jury, grand jury. And so I don't know how long before that convenes and when they'll get on that deal. So that's the path that Hill and Moore, the district attorney, has decided to take. So whatever that process. The silver lining for Jordan Jefferson, who's, by the way, is a nice kid. I think he's just a nice kid that got himself in a bad situation in the wrong place, the wrong time. He made it himself, but nonetheless, he's a pretty good kid. He still could redshirt. He still has a redshirt opportunity, so that gives him an option. You know, we talked about transferring. I mean, there's always a transfer possibility, but the fact of the matter is that he could come back in the system and come one more year and see how it winds up. I don't have anything else other than that. I did see where Jarvis Landry, was he from Destrehan or East St. John or? Lutcher. Yeah, he played the other night. So some of the other two guys are starting to play some. So I don't know where they are in that process.
Anyone else?
Questions? Yes, sir. Russell Shepard will be back for the West Virginia game. So that he has one more week out and then goes to West Virginia. It was a 3-game suspension. And I don't know a lot of the details. What I can tell you, which is fairly public knowledge, is that in the process of determining what was going on with his situation, you know, girlfriend and where he lived and that sort of thing, You know, his first cousin is on the team also, Craig Lawston. So as you do sometimes with family and you don't do it with other friends, sometimes you tell them things and you're not supposed to tell them because Lawston was in the process of being interviewed. So maybe he said some things in that process as to what was going on. And that was really the bigger of the violations, if you can believe that, in the process. But nonetheless, he has a 3-game suspension. He'll be back for West Virginia. Anybody? Always enjoy it. See y'all.
Thank you, Norman. LSU Mississippi State at Starkville this coming Thursday night.